All praises to Yahweh. All praises to Yahweh Shai. All praises for the Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone that have been and continue to teach the true gospel. Salute to the Akim, spreading the true gospel on the streets and lanes of the city, on the highways and hedges, and on the World Wide Web. Much love to the humble Akwak, who learn the science with all subjection and are in righteous order under the men of Yahweh Shai. This is Brother Raza from the Church of Philadelphia camp. Hey, the Lord just put in my spirit, to go into the times we're in. And basically the times is they're demonizing the men of the Lord. They're demonizing the prophets, and they're setting up different things um, for the media to be able to demonize the prophets. And at the end of the day, we know the code words that they're talking about in regards to demonizing the prophets. Like I was watching this one news broadcast, and one of the people were telling me something. If you hate this country, then just get out. So they're using all of these things that's happening in the country to really make it seem like people who speak against the government or speak against the country are basically um, um, should be deported, should be jailed, shouldn't be here, to be hated, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, to assassinate their character, really to get people to even eventually try to kill them, right? So the devil's coming down, having great wrath, because he knows he has but a short time. So anything that falls in line with, going against what the government says, you should be hated, basically. And they try to be slick, you know. But at the end of the day, they're going to start, coming down on men of the Lord, and they're going to use all these other things as the reason to do it, you know, and silly Jake and Eve is going to be the first ones to eat it up, be the first ones to, and well, they're doing it right now, coming against the prophets and the men of the Lord, putting up these silly, crazy videos. So you see, it's a concerted effort to really build a hatred campaign against the men of the Lord. And when we're not, we see right through you, Esau. We see right through you, because we're not advocating any type of violence. We're not doing any type of violence. We're not inciting any type of violence. We say we're going to wait on Yahweh Bashim Shai. We say somebody's going to crack them clouds open. You say that's crazy. We say, okay, well, let it be crazy. But you can't accuse us of inciting any type of violence. Not true men of the Lord. I'm sure you're going to have some puppets set up to do that nonsense. But no, you know, we've been out here preaching this word for quite some time now. And guess what? True men of the Lord are going to continue to preach his word until the Lord shuts our mouths. And he's going to show us, and he may put the power in your hands to kind of, obviously make that happen. But at the end of the day, we know it's Yahweh Bashim Shai doing it, you know, because we're going to be found blameless. You want to try to blame us for something, but we're going to be ultimately found blameless, you know. But enough of me talking. Let's get some of these precepts. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you. Yeah. And again, most of that killing is assassinating someone's character at this point, right? Even though they want to kill us, they want us dead, right? But they are afflicting us, by again making these false accusations, firing us on these jobs, not and basically blackballing us in different industries so that we don't get hired, right? No matter what your qualifications are, the power's in their hands to do it, until the Lord shuts that down, And again, we put our trust in Yahweh Bashim Shai. So they think they got the power, but ultimately it's the Lord's will, And it says, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Yeah, for Yahweh Bashim Shai. Because we know all the other guys are vain. All the other guys aren't Yahweh Bashim Shai. They're not living, and they don't really have power. They don't have power at all, right? You know, but our power. That's why they don't want us using that name. You know, and they don't want us letting people know the truth because we speak the truth. We speak what the scriptures say, not what we think, but what the scripture actually says. And the Lord has given that knowledge, given us the knowledge, wisdom, understanding to be able to break some of these dark sayings down. You know, and Esau Edom can't get it and won't get it. 2/3 can't get it and won't get it because they've not been given that gift of the knowledge, wisdom, understanding of the scriptures, of the prophecies, right? And even of going into, you know, right now was prophecy, but it's now historical events to us now. But it was written even before those times. But to be able to put those things together, put those pieces together, right? That's a spirit that's been put upon men of the Lord. You know, because you're not going to learn that anywhere in Esau's kingdom or any seminaries or anything else like that, right? That's a true. That's through spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Bashim Shai, and that's it, right? This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 16. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren. Yeah, that's a real thing, man. And it's going to be even more prevalent and evident, you know, and kinsfolk and friends, right? Yeah, people you think, you know, got your back, right? Your rib, right? You think she got your back, right? Right. But no, you're going to be betrayed, you know? And it's sad. But guess what? They're going to get their just recompense by betraying men of the Lord, righteous men that only wanted to follow the law, statutes, commandments. But you don't respect that. You respect what you think is power, but you don't know the true power, which is Yahweh Bashim Shai. So you betray your man, you betray your brother, you betray your friend, really, for filthy lucre or for a little bit of power, a little bit of crumbs that Esau Edom is going to give you, but it's not going to amount to anything, right? Hey, you think you're saving your life, but you're going to lose it. It says, "In some view shall they cause me put to death." Yeah, literally. But it was to say, the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first, right? So that's the count. That's the cost we got to count. You know, hey, Lord willing, we be that number, we get beamed up so we can see the destruction. You know, but either way, guess what? As the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first, you're gonna see that destruction. You know, it says, "And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake." That's why that name is so important because we call it on other names, we're calling on other gods, we're calling on another story, another narrative. So yes, the name matters. Yes, the description of Yahweh Shai matters. The description of Yahweh matters, right? Because we're made in His likeness. So for truth's sake, that's the truth. Why don't you just tell the truth? Why wouldn't you just want to tell the truth? Of course it matters. What do you mean it doesn't matter? It's the truth. The truth always should matter. You know? You gotta be kidding me. This book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 17. And it reads, "But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues." Yeah, beat you, right? And we get beat up every day on YouTube, right? Calling us crazy, calling us um Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we got costumes on, and we don't know what we're talking about. And meanwhile, all these prophecies are rolling. It says, "And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake." Yeah, how are we brought before governors and kings? You know, and law enforcement. Yeah, because they got our pictures, right? They watch our videos, right? They got our names, right? It says, "For a testimony against them and the Gentiles." Yeah, because what do we preach? Destruction. You know, as in the old days, hey, we preached against many kingdoms of wars and of pestilence, right? Hey, and that's what it is because that's what the scripture says. That arrow is sent out from above, and who gonna turn it back? Nobody can turn these prophecies back. Nobody's gonna be able to turn them missiles back. It's already been sent. It's already been written. For those missiles to come over here. What you want? What you want the messengers to do about it? We trying to warn you, you dummies. There's nothing you can do. But listen, and for Esau Edom, just live it up. You know, it says, but when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. So the Lord is saying, don't you don't got to worry about it. Don't even worry about it, because I'm going to speak through you. Because we know that they have our pictures and our faces and our names and our videos, right? And they surveil us, right? Because they know this is true. Because if it wasn't true, then why would they just say, "Oh, these guys are crazy"? Because again, you're not going to see us trying to fight against you at all. We're just going to speak the word. You know, our, uh, we don't have weapons of war. This is a spiritual warfare. This is getting our people, to understand who they are and whom they are, and it's the elect that we're trying to get sealed, right? You know, it says, but the end is going to come, you know, through Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, you know, and then we're going to reign in righteousness. But at the end of the day, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We ain't trying to fight. You know, that would be senseless. you know, but that's how you know how powerful this word is, because we're telling you and we're showing you we ain't fighting. Because we know this weapons of our warfare are not carnal, and we know what the scriptures, the Bible, is our true, um, salvation, and having faith is our true salvation. And that's faith combined with the work. Because if you got faith, you're going to put in the work. You're going to put in the work of a prophet, because the spirit of the prophets is subject to the prophet. So what we were doing in past time, we're doing right now. You know? So Esau, Edom, 2/3, other heathen nations, whether you like to believe it or not, this is what it is. And again, you're not going to get men of the Lord to go off and do something crazy, because we're going to be found blameless. But we're going to preach this word. And that's, again, what you hate, because you hate the truth. You hate us speaking the truth because you hate the truth. It says, for it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. So the Lord is going to, give us those words to speak in that day, right? And the Lord's going to put that Spirit on us in the day of temptation too. So we don't take that MOTB, right? And we stand 10 toes down through the Spirit, power, grace, and mercy, Yahweh Shema Shai. It says, and the brother shall deliver a brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. Yeah, this is what's written, and it's happening right now, where people are snitching and telling and doing all this other nonsense, right? Behind the men of the Lord's back. But we know through your spirit what you're doing. And hey, we got to count that cost, you know? Even though we tried to give you warning, but you didn't want it. But because it wasn't given to you to want. It says, again, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. And that's what we want to do as men of the Lord. We want to be called and chosen. We want to endure to the end so we can be saved and get that salvation, get beamed up on the chariots, and watch this destruction happen. Right? That's it. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. So yeah, the Lord didn't give us a spirit of fear. He didn't give his prophets a spirit of fear. Because again, week in and week out, we go out and make our bodies a living sacrifice. Not only just week in and week out, but putting up these videos because they trace it. They know who we are, you know? And soon enough, there's going to be social credit scores where, they're looking and scanning everything that you've done and said, right? It says, Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And that's what we want. We want that crown. We're all fighting for this penny through our faith and our works. But we can't fear what Esau can do to our body because we want to be found righteous to be able to endure to the end because Esau will put the fear of death on you, all types of fears on you to try to stop this word. But again, the Lord has put a spirit on true men of the Lord that have no fear and that want to do his will, right? So, Lord willing, I'll be at that number. Lord willing, the brothers of Church Philadelphia be at that number. Lord willing, the brothers of Men of Valor be at that number, right? But at the end of the day, it's not up to any of us. It's up to Yahweh Bashim Shai at the end of the day, But he's got his men predestinated. We just hope we're one of those men, you know? But hey, this devil is coming down. He's trying to put all types of trickery, order out of chaos. He's doing everything, right? But at the end of the day, a lot of it is uh, centered on condemning this word, condemning the men of the Lord for speaking against his kingdom and trying to bring our people to righteousness, preaching this gospel, right? But at the end of the day, we know who's going to prevail, and that's Yahweh Bashim Shai. And we're going to wait on Yahweh Bashim Shai. So don't try to act like the men of the Lord, the Israelites, are inciting anything. We're not inciting nothing. So stop it, you know? So this is just a testimony against you, you devils who try to make these false accusations and accuse us of things. We're just telling you what your judgment is according to the Bible. And Yahweh Shai is going to render that, you know? So, hey, Lord willing, this video was edifying to the elect. Until next time, shalom.